Hey everyone, it's Siobhan here. Today I'm doing something a little different. I'm taking a break from my DIY videos to bring you the Walking Dead tag. I was recently at New York City Comic Con and I got to see the Walking Dead panel for the very first time, and it was amazing because I've been going to the convention for a few years, but I always seem to miss the actual panel. It's either I'm not in line on time or maybe the theater just fills up, but this year I actually got to see it. I found a link to the entire panel and I'm going to put it in the underbar so you can watch that too. One of the things that stuck out to me though was that Lauren Cohan cried. She was thanking her fans and she was, very, very emotional, and it was really sort of frightening and worrisome because if you're a Walking Dead fan, then you know that this Sunday is the season 7 premiere and we're going to find out who it is that Negan has Lucille'd. And a lot of people are actually saying Maggie because Maggie has kind of turned into Rick's right-hand man when she goes and she negotiates with Gregory at the hilltop. That's just one of the theories that I've read online. A few other people have said Abraham, Glenn, they're going to stick to the comics and make it Glenn, which is going to be horrible because Glenn is one of my favorites. I'm sort of going off track here, so I'm going to just start the tag and hopefully you guys are going to have fun watching my video. Question 1. Walkers, lurkers, biters, lambrains, geeks, or rotters? Which is it? In the Walking Dead universe, it is walkers, and it'll be walkers for me as well. That's what I would call them. Question 2. You just woke up to the zombie apocalypse. What is your weapon of choice? Probably something light and blunt like a baseball bat. I've never shot a gun before. I grew up in New York City. Most people here don't have guns. I imagine that during the zombie apocalypse, adrenaline would be high, and having never shot a gun before, I probably would miss my target every single time. Not to mention that guns are loud. Without ear protection, you kind of chip away at your hearing over time, and you definitely need that sense during the zombie apocalypse. With a baseball bat or even like a golf club, you could just whack someone in the head and be done with it. Plus they're light, and as a petite woman I would need something that I could carry and swing around that wouldn't tire me out, and I think like a titanium bat or something along those lines would probably work best. Now that you have your weapon, choose your partner. Who would it be? For me, hands down, it would be Michonne. It's probably because she's a very effective warrior. She's great with her weapon of choice, the katana. She's also not insane, and she's a loyal friend, which we saw when she went back to rescue Andrea. She's also somebody who, in her downtime, doesn't seem like a person that would kill you in your sleep. So I think that's a good thing to note, and just she's one of my favorite characters, so definitely Michonne. Number 4, location is everything. Where will your camp be? My husband and I have several plans for the zombie apocalypse. We even have backup plans, some of which are incredibly inappropriate and I can't share them here on YouTube. But the one that sort of sticks out and comes to mind is my in-laws' house upstate. And the reason for it is they own a pretty sizable house with some land in the back, and of course that's really awesome because you need land to plant. You also need land for any livestock that you collect, like chickens or cows, and we're close enough to the neighbors that we can reach out and ask for help should we need that, but we're also far away enough from any sort of big town or city that we sort of, I guess, are more protected from larger herds of The Walking Dead. Number 5, who is dead that you wish was still alive? This is kind of hard because I feel like any of the deaths that have happened on the show so far have been characters that maybe haven't been as important to me and or just don't really seem like they're gonna fit in with the universe of The Walking Dead as the story progresses. That's just my opinion. The death of Herschel was really sad, but realistically speaking, this was an old man with one leg. How long could he go on in the story? If I had to pick, I probably would say Beth, and it's just because she was a sort of sweet character. She was kind of young. I could have seen her becoming a partner to Daryl, or even when Carl grows up becoming a partner to Carl. And it just seemed like her death was this terrible accident too, and such a waste because our characters went through all of this trial and tribulation to find her. They finally do, and in the moments when she's just about to walk away, she does this foolish thing. She gets the back of her head blown off. So it was just sort of this frustrating kind of sad death. I guess that's the one that I would pick. Number 6. Who is alive that you wish was dead? I feel like a lot of people here would say Father Gabriel, but I'm actually rooting for that character, and I'm interested to see where his story's arc is gonna go. I think characters that I don't really care about so much are probably Rosita and Eugene, although Eugene is way more useful in the grand scheme of things than Rosita is. Number 7, which character is the most evil of all time? Again, I think this is a hard question to answer because all of the villains on The Walking Dead have been unique and special in their own sort of psychopathic ways. What comes to mind for me right away is Gareth, and it's probably because the idea of cannibalism just horrifies me. Now there's only really one scene in the entirety of the show that's made my stomach flip, and it's a scene between Gareth and Bob, they've amputated his leg at the knee, and right behind him is this sort of fire pit or makeshift barbecue, whatever you want to call it, and they're roasting his foot and eating his flesh in front of him. And for me, that's just like the most horrifying idea ever, and it really turned my stomach, which is saying something because I'm a horror fan and usually I'm pretty jaded to any sort of violence that's on film. Obviously, the Governor and Negan are two of the biggest villains, both in the comic books and on the show. I think Negan is obviously the most evil overall of all of the characters or all of the villains that we've seen so far. And I think for me personally, it's the fact that he's charismatic, he's kind of handsome, he's also got a cult, like a legit cult behind him. And the Governor, as crazy and horrible as he is kind of emotional, and I think that those sort of emotions, they sort of humanize him in a way, at least for me, and as particularly the show Governor, especially that scene where he kind of freaks out when his zombie daughter is killed by Michonne, and you just sort of see this human side, and then later on he goes and he meets this other family, Tara and her sister and niece, and you see him kind of bonding with them. But it's also really horrifying in the fact that he's manipulating the whole situation to kind of bring this family closer to him. Whereas Negan's way more upfront about how brutal he is. But I guess the one thing about Negan that's different than the Governor is the theme of sort of sexual violence. And as a female viewer, that's something that I guess I kind of noticed and appreciated. Generally speaking, when I think of like a big bad male villain, I think of a huge hulking guy that's completely and totally psychopathic, and he murders and rapes. And in the comic books, the Governor actually does try to assault Michonne. That's kind of when she takes out his eye. On the show, it's a little different. He sort of, again, he manipulates women into having these sexual relationships with him. Whereas Negan abhors rape. Having a villain that doesn't really like rape, I think that's really interesting and refreshing, and I don't know. That in and of itself made an impression on me in terms of Negan. But I guess overall, of all the characters, I mean, Gareth just horrifies me, but Negan's probably the big bad. Number 8. If you had a baby during the apocalypse, which character would you put in charge of your child? That's really easy. That would be Carol. Carol's a mom. She starts the series off with her daughter Sophia, but as we all know, Sophia kind of bites it pretty soon in the series, which is really very sad, actually. It's too bad that that happens. We had to get rid of her so that Carol could evolve and become the badass that she is today, I guess. Over the course of the series, we've seen her display genuine concern for any children that are in her group, particularly Carl and Judith. We've also seen her sort of take care of her group. She's kind of, as she says to, I guess, Deanna or somebody in the Alexandria safe zone, she's sort of the den mother. She's very capable, and I think that she would take very, very good care of my hypothetical child. Number 9. Hey leader, your call. The needs of your loved ones or the needs of many? This is really easy. It would be the needs of my loved ones. I would do anything. I would fight tooth and nail for my family. If and when anybody else were to join my group, then they would become part of my family. But initially, I wouldn't care about the well-being of anybody else. I would be looking out for my husband, my child, maybe my little brother, maybe my little sister-in-law. I would be thinking about them, not anybody that I don't know. And number 10, what's the biggest lesson The Walking Dead taught you about surviving a zombie apocalypse? To never hesitate and to trust your instincts. I love this show because in many ways, even though it's sort of sci-fi and it's fantasy, there are so many themes within it that are really very realistic. A lot of times I'll sit on my couch watching an episode and I kind of will pretend to be one of the characters, and I'll think in my mind, how would I have reacted? What would I have done? How would this have felt? What would I be doing afterwards? It sort of puts things into perspective, and it also gets you thinking. And obviously, you'll never really know unless you're in the middle of a zombie apocalypse and or you're in the middle of doing something violent, which hopefully nobody will ever have to go through, but it does happen to some people. I'd like to think that I'd be really tough and work it out and just kind of survive, but I don't know, maybe that wouldn't be the case for me. I can tell you as a native New Yorker, I've been held up at gunpoint twice, I've been mugged several times, but held up at gunpoint twice. The first time I really felt like I was going to die, the second time I kind of was like, alright, I can get through this, and in retrospect, that's crazy that I thought that I'd get through it and I didn't just immediately fall apart. I'm also an insomniac that walks around the city with my dog dog at 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning and I don't feel scared. But my experiences have made me more cautious, and I guess have taught me to kind of follow the gut instinct in my stomach and in my heart, so I guess those are good things. I don't know if The Walking Dead has really taught me how to do that, or if it's just something that I've learned as I've grown up, but it's definitely a theme that I've seen within the show, and yeah. As always, I will have all of my links in the description below, and I'll also have, as I said, the questions from the tag there. I'm going to tag my friend Heather. I don't know if any of my other YouTube friends are Walking Dead fans, but if you are and you want to tag me or show me your response to this tag, I'd be thrilled to watch your answers and geek out with you. That would be really fun. So until next time, I'll see you all later. I hope that anybody that is a Walking Dead fan has a good Sunday. I'm nervous. Hopefully it's not going to be like Michonne. I'm like really nervous. Or Maggie. Everybody keeps saying it's Maggie. Abraham or Glenn. It was Glenn in the comics, but like, I don't know, they might make it different on the show, but Glenn is going to be devastating for me because I just love him and Maggie so much. Okay, enough of that. I'll see you all later. Bye.